Here's to you, the most beautiful thing that I have never seen.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Oh, great. Nothing much.
Okay, great. Alhamdulillah.
Um,
So we are still waiting for the attendance of the other class of the organizational communication class. So let me know that who are here already. The class from Miss Virinia. All of you there? Not yet. If you are there, please chat or just say, yes, miss, I'm here. The class from...
Hi, Miss.
Okay. Are you coming from
Hi,
Kirinia
Miss.
class? Okay, so class from Miss Amia. There?
Yes, Miss. Hello.
Okay, hi, Christy. Thank you. So the class from, let me remember.
Siti?
Yes.
Yeah.
Present,
Yes.
Miss.
Okay, thank
Hadir.
you. Okay,
Hadir.
City
Hadir.
gang up. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, and who else? The class from Miss or Mister? I think class from Mr. Atriadi Sumbogo have a class today, so let me check. Organizational communication. From Misari. Ada class from Misari Ramadanti. Are you there? Still not coming yet? Okay, the class from Mr. Marginata. Not coming yet? Okay. From Miss Dina. Not coming yet also. And class of Miss Melanie. Not yet. From my class? Are you there?
I used to be.
Oh, double, right?
Kan dulu pas
you're double.
semester
Oh, iya.
semester
Oh.
lama gitu.
Okay, the class from my class, Miss Faye, are you there? My class?
Dulu aku sama Miss, sekarang udah enggak. Sama PI ya kalau nggak lihat PIA ya.
Okay. So
Professional
let me
Image
call
dan
all of them
Acting.
in the group, okay? Okay, so while I am also asking, almost 100. Hi, so let me also introduce to you that today's speaker already here actually. Okay, between us, the participant also almost reached to the 100 participants. So let's talk to the speaker first. Hi, Pak Dicky. Halo, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Hi everyone. Hi class. How are you today?
Hello, great.
Halo,
Nothing
Pak.
much. Halo, Pak.
It's a new normal, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready, Miss Firen. Anytime.
Okay. Pak Diki, thank you so much. Also texting the group. So they're coming. Okay, please wait. Okay, so Pak Diki, how are you this afternoon? I hope you are fine, right, today?
I'm fine, but a bit nervous.
Oh, it's okay. Every public speaker.
I rather speak before the delegation from 193 delegation than with these millennials.
Don't worry. This actually this Z generation. I'm millennial.
Oh yeah. Oh,
so here with us is Z generation. Don't worry, they are so enthusiastic.
Even make me more nervous.
Yeah. Don't worry. So all of us is friendly. Don't worry.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so I think I will share the PPT, okay, the share screen. But before that, okay, actually I reached the 100. I think we can start. So everyone, actually today, the topic of our last session, okay, the changing landscape of organization. Yeah. So today with Pak Diki, we will talk about it. Okay, but more broad the case around that topic. Okay, Pak Diki will share to us. Okay, based on his experience. So that's why let me inform you shortly, briefly about Pak Diki experience, job experience. Please wait. So Pak Diki has many experience, guys. Yes, in from 1989. I think that time I just 3 years old kid. Okay, but Padiki already joined as a bank officer of Lipo Bank Bandung. Okay, and then next also Padiki have some experience in mission of the Republic of Indonesia to the European in Brussels, Belgium. Okay, wow. And then after that, as a chief of desk for the right of vulnerable groups, Directorate of Human Rights and Humanitarian Affairs. Okay, and next, and then becoming first secretary permanent mission of the Republic of Indonesia to the United Nations in New York, USA. Oh, and next as a deputy director for civil and political rights, Directorate of Human Rights and Humanitarian Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay, still in the Republic of Indonesia to the UN, and as a director for human rights. Okay, the same thing still continue till now. So before currently now as Directorate of Human Rights and Humanitarian Affairs, or MOVA, Padiki, after before this, having experience as a minister or deputy chief of mission of Indonesian embassy in Bangkok, Thailand. Okay, so everyone, if we know about Thailand, what do you remember about Thailand? If everyone have already gone to the Thailand, what do you remember about Thailand? I think
Street food, Miss.
What seafood?
Yeah, I
Street
gotta admit it. Yeah,
Apa?
food.
What?
Street food.
Street food. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The unique street food there. Okay, like I remember about that. What insect?
Oh yeah.
But I love Thailand because of if we talk about culinary, like pad thai, and then like
Tom yum.
Tom yum goong. Okay, and then what else? Many. Yes. Shopping. Yes. Chatuncak market. Wow. Okay, so yeah, part of this about Chatuncak market, about culinary business, also part of this thing, guys. My friend here, my class, yeah, we will talk about it. How the changing landscape organization, which influenced by globalization, by changing economic, by changing industry shape, shaping of industry, the changing of course today's pandemic COVID-19. How this affect to the communication of organization. Okay, so we as a new generation for the future. Okay, we all are, you actually, especially guys, for the future organizational job seeker. Yeah, for every business maybe you will do, maybe, yeah, for your future work, how you should face all this changing. So with Pak Dicky, we will know about it. So let me share the PPT. Could you see the PPT in the share screen? Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Miss.
So Pak Dicky, your time.
Good afternoon, distinguished class and Miss and Mr. Lecturer. Let me start by thanking Binus University for inviting me to share my knowledge and experience to our Generation X. Generation X, is that correct? I'm sure most of you are wondering why this senior citizen was invited to speak about organizational communication. Well, I have a moral responsibility to prove to you all that your docent has various reasons to justify his or her decision. First, I'm a senior Indonesian diplomat with broad experience in diplomacy, both in bilateral and multilateral contexts. When we talk about diplomat and diplomacy, then we certainly talk about communication. Second, I'm fortunate to have variety of knowledge and experience that enable me to witness the changing and transformation of communication, not only from different periods and patterns, but also angles. Third, as Ms. Perana indicated earlier, the ongoing pandemic is an unprecedented phenomenon that creates uncertainty and definitely drastic change in our life. This undoubtedly requires us to respond, to adapt, and to move on properly. I hope I can share with you how pandemic affect the conduct of diplomacy and in general on how we deal with our life. So with this, let's move to the first slide, this outline. As requested, I try to digest the material that had been shared with me a week ago by Ms. Ferrana. I really have to read back and forth, just to understand exactly what is the organizational communication. I then decided to share with all of you this short presentation entitled The Changing Landscape of Organization, a Practical Perspective, where I hope I can connect the theoretical session that you had a couple of weeks ago with a practical perspective from my knowledge and experience. Slide 2, please. Okay, so this is the outline that I hope can guide us to the more meaningful understanding of the today's topics of our session as follow. Of course, introduction, and then diplomacy as an organizational communication. And then I'll move to the case study. I choose Universal Periodic Review of the United Nations Human Rights Council. I will explain later on what it means by this Universal Periodic Review, or what we call UPR. And then as Ms. Ferrana mentioned earlier, that we are now in the time of pandemic, and we don't know how long the pandemic will last, and we don't know what life then we will have during and after the pandemic. And of course, I will offer some recommendation, and hopefully after that we will have a lively question and answer session. But in the meantime, please feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have a burning question that you need to raise to me. So let's move to slide 3, please. Okay, so as I indicated earlier, my presentation will focus on the practical perspective of the theoretical session that you had a couple of weeks ago. I really hope that my practical knowledge and experience will guide us to a better comprehension of the theories that you had earlier. I wish also to quote the theoretical reference from the session, that the modern era, ushered by the logic and rationality of science and technology, and nurtured by the managerial search for effectiveness and efficiency. If the Industrial Revolution ushered in the modern era of efficient organization and society, many would say that the information revolution has ushered us in the postmodern era where everything moves fast and life is more fragmented and less consistent. Let's see this in more practical pictures so we can understand the nuance of the concept. Again, in the beginning, I clearly indicated that diplomat and diplomacy are closely related to the concept of communication. During the decades of my professional experience at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I'm fortunate enough to be assigned in bilateral and multilateral posts. Although in current circumstances, both posts are intertwined. For example, my last post in our embassy in Bangkok was very much mix of bilateral relation between Indonesia and Thailand, but also at the same time, as ASEAN member, the two countries work closely in the context of ASEAN, especially during Thailand chairmanship in 2019. In addition, Bangkok is also the host of UNESCAP, a regional office of United Nations Economic and Social Council. The last two are considered multilateral forum, consists of 10 ASEAN member countries and 54 UNESCAP member countries, respectively. Next, I will share with you on multilateral context of United Nations as case study of our session. But certainly, I'll be happy to entertain any question with regard to the bilateral relation between Indonesia and Thailand, especially during the pandemic. So as we all know that the United Nations consists of a number of main organs, namely General Assembly, Security Council, Strategic Council, Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, and the Secretariat General. And I hope all of you know at least the name of the Secretary General of the United Nations. Yeah, you can search later. Okay, so later in 2005, Human Rights Council was established as one of United Nations major organ in line with the three pillars of peace and security, sustainable development, and human rights of the outcome document of UN Summit that year. Under the mandate of the Human Rights Council, there is a universal periodic review mechanism where all United Nations member countries have to report to the Council periodically between 4 to 5 years on the progress of their efforts in the promotion and protection of human rights of their country. I will explain more on how our theoretical concept be applied in all processes of preparation, reporting, and follow-up by Indonesia during its UPR mechanism in 2017 as our case study. Then we're going to discuss further on how pandemic accelerate the postmodern organization that causes unprecedented impact in our life, the life that we never had before. Lastly, I will offer some recommendation on how we can survive and build back better during and the post-COVID era with better mitigation in the world that full uncertainty and disruption. So now let's move to this slide 4, diplomacy. Okay, when we talk about diplomacy in the context of communication, then we will think about a number of characteristics. For example, it is indeed international in nature, involving diplomats, bureaucrats from almost 200 countries globally. These diplomats adhere to various agreed international convention, declaration, or other binding international agreements. We also have a very strong nature of cooperation, competition, political agenda, negotiation, persuasion, lobbying, pressure, coercion, violence, conflict, even war. So to some extent, we're talking about various form of communication in this regard. We also have a very strong sense of global consciousness. To be clear, we are talking about standard and norm setting as our agreed code of conduct in international relation. We are also aware of the fact that gap exists in the context of prosperity, capacity, resources, value, culture, technology among nations or among countries that brought about distrust, tension, and even conflict. Those characteristics above are much stronger in the context of multilateral, and United Nations is a crystal clear example of multilateral diplomacy with dominant character of standard and norm setting that hopefully will lead our world to peace, dignity, and prosperity for all humankind as mandated by UN Charter. If you want to learn further about United Nations, you can click www.un.org. You can find a lot of abundant information about how United Nations work, and it definitely is a wide forest that you need years to understand how then United Nations works globally. So during the World Summit 2005, world leaders agree to three pillars of the United Nations, namely peace and security, sustainable development, and human rights as mutually reinforcing pillars of United Nations. At the same time, Human Rights Council was established, which raised the profile of human rights issue as a global value and commitment. Then we move to slide number 5, please. Next slide. Yeah, okay. So I'll give you some background on human rights. Although human rights has existed in United Nations Charter and Universal Declaration of Human Rights since 1948, human rights was considered as controversial issues due to its nature that prone to politicization and double standard, not to mention as a Western value. This unfortunately has created mutual distrust among countries even until today. With 2005 UN Summit and the establishment of Human Rights Council, then world community agreed to the global commitment to the promotion and protection of human rights in 193 member countries of the United Nations. Human Rights Council started to operate in 2006 with Universal Periodic Review mechanism as one of main mandates of the Council. So I just want to reiterate the universal peer review mechanism is one of the main mandates of the Council, of the Human Rights Council. This mechanism is a unique one aiming at improving the human rights situation on the ground of 193 member countries of the United Nations. Under this mechanism, each country, including Indonesia, should undergo a reporting process periodically between 4 to 5 years. So if I can give you an illustration of what kind of UPR mechanism. So I understand that every student has to deal with exam from time to time. So this UPR mechanism is between a trial process or a final exam of your thesis or dissertation where the country under review present its national report in front of delegation or diplomats from other 192 countries in the Human Rights Council room, United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. So you can, if you can imagine, I understand that you are still in 4th semester for the time being, right? So you still have 2 to 3 more semester, then you will go for the final exam, skripsi or skripsi ya Bu ya. Tapi skripsi ya. That's exactly how then we can illustrate the universal periodic review mechanism at the Human Rights Council. So there are 3 stages of the Human Rights, universal periodic report mechanism. First, the preparation of the national report. Secondly, the review process at the Human Rights Council session in Geneva. And third, the implementation of the recommendation. So these 3 stages are very important. This is the overall process that every country has to undergo in the context of the universal periodic review in order to report on the progress and challenges of the effort in the promotion and protection of human rights in their respective countries. So I'd like also to give you some background on how the issue of human rights is considered sensitive. So although, as I said, human rights issue have been exist in the United Nations Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but this issue, well, to some countries is considered new. So they really need to digest. They really need to learn to deal with this human rights issue. So that's why the issue of human rights is rather sensitive due to its unpredictability, especially when during the review process at the Human Rights Council. Therefore, we need to prepare the report comprehensively and conclusively with full anticipatory approach to prevent surprises and awkward situations during the report. So if you can imagine, when you have to defend your thesis in front of your lecturer, for instance, then you really need to prepare yourself comprehensively, try to cover all the loopholes that may occur during the the exam. So this exactly the same what we experience as Indonesian official when we prepare our report, a UPR report, and specifically in 2017. So it's about 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, Indonesia underwent its third reporting process. So during the preparation process, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, especially, and the national team comprising officials from different ministries and institutions had intensive contact, communication, meeting, coordination, observation of previous report, lobbying with other stakeholders, both at the national and international level, to ensure conducive atmosphere and prevent any loopholes that cause surprises and awkward situation for Indonesian delegation during the reporting session in Geneva. So this process include also coordination with Parliament, media, and also NGOs. Okay, until this, any burning question from student perhaps before I move on to the UPR process of Indonesia. Any question? Otherwise, I can just.
So far, no questions.
Good.
No questions from me.
Okay, so let's continue. So during this process, we apply what's that? Okay, so the combination approach of modern as most and postmodern era, hoping that the overall process will be smooth without unnecessary surprises. This is very important because, you know, even at the national level in Indonesia and most democratic country, we have a very lively civil society, right? We have a very lively press. We have a very critical professor, academician that will strongly express their opinion on the performance of Indonesian government in the context of human rights. So this is something that we would like to prevent in the context on reporting mechanism under UPR in Geneva. So we conduct a lot of coordination, a lot of lobbies, a lot of dissemination because we are all aware that Indonesia is a huge country consisting of 34 provinces, and not to mention that our country consists of thousands of islands. It means that this dissemination issue is a very complicated issue. And not to forget also that we have officials, a government official, not only in Jakarta, but also at the tip of North Sumatra and also Papua. So this is a very complex issue that we need to have a common understanding on how we deal with human rights in our country. So let's move to the reporting session on May 3rd, 2017. So during that reporting process, Indonesian delegation was headed by Ibu Retno, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Pak Yasona Lawli as a Minister of Law and Human Rights. So we had two ministers as our head of delegation in the UPR reporting process. So this process consists of presentation of our national report, and then the consideration of the report by delegation of 192 countries, where the delegation that can present recommendation to Indonesia in order to improve or to ensure the progress of the effort on the protection and on the promotion and protection of human rights in Indonesia. And of course, at the end of the session, there will be a report adopted by the Human Rights Council. So unfortunately, the overall process took place smoothly without any unnecessary surprises, and the meeting adopted the report with 225 recommendations presented by delegation, in which 167 recommendations have been accepted by Indonesia to be followed up by Indonesia by the implementation of this recommendation by Indonesia. And returning from Geneva, the delegation shared the session for public evaluation and follow-up. This includes also, of course, the media, and of course, the civil society, also a parliament. And also, we have like a touring to various provinces to ensure that what we had in Geneva also shared with our official at the provincial level, so they're also aware of this process, and any recommendation that have been accepted by Indonesia mean also a recommendation for each and every official, government official at all levels, at provincial and city, and also other subnational levels. So then after the report, we have a very positive what's called the observation from public, from other ministries, and of course also from our civil society. And during this follow-up process, we make sure that this recommendation is not only belong to the government, but also belong to our other stakeholders, the parliament, civil society, the academician, the university, or the school. So this is our common responsibility to move our human rights record forward. So later, perhaps in the Q&A session, students can also raise questions about various thematic human rights issues that have been, under the attention of different delegations from different countries. I can share with you another example, but then leave it for Q&A session. So when we consider the whole process has been smooth and predictable, this is of course due to the application of modern and postmodern communication. We put more emphasis on comprehensive and anticipatory preparation process that we learned from the previous session. So I hope we can further discuss this study case, a case study during the Q&A later. So this lead us to slide number 6, please. So as Ms. Fernanda also pointed out earlier, the pandemic. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So during the pandemic last year has a detrimental and unprecedented impact on human lives. It has turned the world upside down. All countries, regardless their level of prosperity, technology, and civilization, have been hit badly by the pandemic without knowing when this will end. Our life has changed and never be the same again. Similar tragedy with smaller magnitude happened in 1918, about more than 100 years ago. So that's why many experts say that this is unprecedented pandemic, because the last one, although with the smaller magnitude, happened about more than 100 years ago. Therefore, no country knows exactly sure how to deal with this pandemic. Our virtual class today is a clear example how the pandemic changed our life completely. Unprecedented pandemic requires unprecedented response. Despite so many conspiracy theories floating in the air about the pandemic, we have to be realistic and deal with it properly by adapting our mindset and attitude. I personally believe that the pandemic has accelerated the application of postmodern era, where technology and digitalization play a determinant role in our daily life. While mastering the digital and ICT, we have no option but to improve and to adopt better our preparedness, competence, and responsiveness. Next. Okay, so this is the basically my recommendation as the last slide. And after this, then we can continue with question and answer. So historically, humans are resilient and adaptive. After about 1.5 years, most of us have adapted to a massive change in almost every aspect of our life: business, education, social life, and work, and to deal with the current situation. The history teach and provide us with pattern and basic solution, and we just need to learn from it and prepare ourselves better for any upcoming disruption in the future. So while preparing ourselves better, then we need to equip ourselves with necessary competence. What we learn from modern era is an asset for us to further develop through innovation and creativity. Lastly, we surely have to act in dealing with this change. Be responsive to any phenomenon around you. This will make you get used to respond quickly to any bigger changes in our life. So let me conclude my presentation by quoting: "The greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence, it is to act with yesterday logic." So with this, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you understand my presentation clearly, and we can continue with our question and answer session. Thank you. Back to you, Ms. Feren.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Dicky, for your explanation for the case study. Okay, we are glad to hear that. So, students, class, please, if you have something that you want to ask to Pak Dicky, please chat or just talk to ask the question. Please, come on. Anything about organizational communication or based on the Pak Dicky experience, maybe that you want to know.
If you wish to ask to raise question about how then diplomacy changed in the context of bilateral during the pandemic, and I'll be happy to respond. Thank you.
Okay, so please, student, I'm waiting for your questions. So before maybe before the student ask, so let me I want to ask some question to Pak Dicky. So Pak Dicky, I know that that's not all my achieve level you have achieved in this life, yeah. I mean, so while we wish our students reach your stature, I mean, maybe in the future, and this maybe with little different condition and situation, many will also get into corporate life. Yes, I mean, I think based on I read on your experience, almost not only government institution that you already joined, but also some corporate. So please guide us on the role of diplomacy, not just within government, but in corporate life, day-to-day life values. I mean, how we can survive. I mean, how to be good communicator.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Feren. And definitely it applies not only for government, but also for a private corporate. I believe communication applies to any kind of profession of work. So what I already indicated in my case study, I very much emphasize on the preparation. The more you prepare, the better the result, and the I think the less surprises pop up. So that's the best approach that I believe. I think. But then again, this is in normal situation before COVID, yeah, and we can discuss perhaps the situation during and post COVID. So, when I present the case study of Indonesia reporting under the Universal Periodic Review, this is one of the best experience that I have during my career, because then I have a full control of preparation. And it means when I start the preparation, I need to have a very clear idea of what of the nature of the human rights, the work of the Universal Periodic Review mechanism. How then we approach not only diplomats from different countries, but also stakeholders at the national levels. It means you need to talk to Komnas HAM. You need to talk to Komnas Perempuan. You need to talk to media. You need to talk to Parliament, because we have to be on the same boat. To at least we have the same mission, that we need to do certain thing to make progress in our effort in the promotion and protection of human rights. And it needs not only not only lobbying, but also persuasion, dissemination, and not to forget to educate officials, to educate our civil society, our media. In the era of social media like this, the work of educating and dissemination become even more complex, because every individual can get information from various sources, and this is sometimes confusing. Some people said this is the paradox of plenty. We have so much information, but sometimes we don't know which one is the right one. So to understand the principle of our country, the constitution of our country, and then we can move forward together if we have the same common understanding. What are we going to do with our country? What contribution that we can give to enable further progress in our country. So I believe every generation has its challenges. My generation challenges definitely different from student challenges, but also the opportunity also different. So what I understand that with determination, with of course a strong commitment, not only for yourself but for your surrounding, for your country, that will make Indonesia better. So whatever you do in the future, after studying at BINUS University, when you graduate from BINUS, be the best of yourself and be contributive. That will be enough to make progress for Indonesia in the future. Our future lies on you, student. So this is a very important message, especially we are now in a very critical pandemic era. A lot of things that we don't know, but basically we also can learn from history. When the pandemic happened in 1918, more than 100 years ago, although the magnitude is not as big as what we have today, but we have to learn from that pandemic, so we can deal with current pandemic better, and also to prepare ourselves better when the next pandemic happen in the future. So basically, that spirit we have to have. Every one of us has to have this kind of spirit to be contributive to whatever that you do. That will be necessary. Then after that, you can develop whatever you want in accordance with your passion in your life. Oh, okay. Is that? Okay. I see question.
Yeah, that's from me.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, there's still like political crises, like recent, or maybe last year, USA and Nagorno-Karabakh, Palestine, and now Myanmar. It's still ongoing. And now, how does it affect the diplomatic ties and organization between both countries, especially when there's a lot of disagreements and agreements?
Sure. Okay, good, very good question, and thank you for the very offers very good question. And I have to admit that United Nations is not the answer for all conflict globally. But one thing we have to bear in mind that when United Nations was established after the Second World War, the main mission is to prevent the world going to the Third World War. And we are witnessing until now, more than 75 years ago, and after 75 years, we don't have that kind of world war. So that's a very a rather simplistic example how United Nations is successful in at least in preventing the next world war and for the benefit of our generation. So definitely conflicts, tension, competition will always happen. It makes our world around, go round. So don't worry about conflict. Don't worry about tension. That's the challenge that we need to deal with, and we need to respond. On Myanmar, of course, Myanmar is our neighbor, is our fellow ASEAN countries. But we have principle position that as ASEAN member countries, we need to help each other. How? War is not the answer, because we learn from many conflicts in the world that will only bring about, suffer, only destruction, and mostly for, people, not to politicians. So we have to learn from that. That's why my minister, although the ASEAN minister might not agree with her, but we have a principled position that we as ASEAN member country, we need to help each other, and we need to talk with one with another. And we're not only dealing with ASEAN member countries, but we also have to deal with international community, in the OIC, in United Nations, of course. And United Nations is a complex mechanism. Human Rights Council is a different issue. In one issue of refugee, then we have to deal with UNHCR. So we have to deal one by one. But when we have a principal position, then it will be easier for us to deal with all of them.
Yeah, because I've been thinking, like, for example, a country is in very much disagreement with another, but then the other country was offering like vaccines and COVID prevention, and they would deny her. That was what I was thinking.
Well, it's unavoidable. This is politics. But when politics have to deal with only rhetorica, only with violence, that will lead us nowhere. It's only to destruction. True. So Indonesia is a very consistent proponent of dialogue and cooperation. It sounds like simplistic and idealistic, but it works. It works. When you have to deal with violence and tension only with arms, so what happened in Syria is very clear. What happened in Yemen is very clear. People on the ground, they always be the victim. And we don't want this to happen, not in Indonesia, not in our region, because we have ASEAN with our noble mission that we need to create prosperity and stability for our region. Other countries, other region, they have to deal with their own. But we at the global level, we always, we have a good example of what we have in ASEAN for almost now over 60 years already, that we have stability and it brings prosperity for more and more people in our region. That's the basic principle and the principal position of Indonesia.
Thank you very much. That was amazing to hear from that perspective.
Okay, I want some ladies to ask question.
Hey ladies, come on, ask the question. Thank you, Raihan, for the question. Actually, are you coming from whose class? I mean, who is your lecture, Raihan?
Sorry, Miss Siti.
Okay, Miss Siti Ratna. Okay. So everyone, when you ask question, please mention your class name, your lecture name. Okay.
So where's ladies?
Yes. Hello, lady. Ladies, so many ladies here. Please come with some question for Padiki. Padiki will be happy to answer the question regarding organizational, political,
or human rights.
And human rights.
Yeah. Please, human rights. Women's right. Women's right.
Oh yes, women's right. That's good idea. Come on, I'm waiting. We are waiting for the question.
Otherwise, I will ask question to you.
See. Okay. It's so interesting when Raihan talking about that conflict. Yeah. So conflict is inevitable actually. What to do? Every country has different meaning for something. So we cannot force our meaning to there. We have so many cultures. We have so many lifestyle, different things, so many things. So, but again, when you are in some different countries, of course, you will interact, you will communicate with so many people with different background.
Yeah.
So, could you tell us? Could you share with us how you cope the conflict? Maybe if there's conflict or with different people with different background, how to cope, how to solve, how to be always in harmony with them. Because I know for the future job of the future and globalization, changing demographics will make us not only meet with a similar background but globalize with so many people from so many countries. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Of course, with decades of experience in multilateral context, I met a lot of fellow diplomats from different countries, and one thing that I believe that whoever that you meet and whatever topic that you discuss, as long as there's understanding of common, commitment to talk, to dialogue, then there always solution. So definitely any difficult topic to discuss, as long as we both parties agree to continue talking, continue negotiating, continue lobbying, continue communication, definitely it will lead you to a possible solution. So any background, well, when you talk about diplomats, and it's not, of course, it's not homogeneous, but when you have intensive communication, that it will create mutual understanding. It's just like between friends. You being friend with someone, then you have a very intensive communication from time to time. It will create understanding. That's happened also to any person with different background, with different nationality. Is it all basically the same? Of course, there are some nuance, some differences, but that basic principle applies also in the context of diplomacy. And at the multilateral context, we always meet, we always talk, we always hang out. So that's the intensive communication is the key. That's exactly what happened with ASEAN. In the context of Myanmar, as long as there's a commitment, there's a willingness to talk, then the possible solution is there. But when one party stop talking, then there will be problem. So communication is the key. Yeah, and the more you have communication, the better, and the better possible solution you will have, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Actually, we are different, but we have the same in business ethics, maybe. Yes, the same pattern, the same communication pattern, of course. So yes, that's why it's a must for us to learn that business ethics to apply in international, in global culture, I mean in global setting, in multicultural setting.
Yeah, as long as you open the communication, then at least you can discuss, you can talk to each other, that then will lead us to possible solution.
Yes, that's why. So it's interesting how to be, I mean, to keep our identity, but then also we should become humanist. Yeah, to become humanist, maybe for someone who really stable in their culture, maybe some difficulties to accept somebody else different lifestyle and everything. So yeah, we should open.
Yeah.
Open-minded.
Open-minded. Yeah, open-minded. Yeah, that's very important, because then
Yes.
if you wear like the kacamata kuda, then it will lead you nowhere.
Yes.
So you really have to be open-minded, because this world is too much to explore only by yourself. Then you need other people to help you. Yeah, and to work together.
I agree with that. Yes, that's true. So we should explore this world. Yeah, not only, I mean, live in this cage, in this small cage, but we should explore so we can meet different people. We can know each other better. But the key is that we should open to communicate.
Communication. Yeah.
Open to build relationship with somebody else from others. I mean, different.
Indeed.
So,
Even with your enemy.
Oh.
You know what? Maybe you all of you read the news about Vanuatu. Yeah, Vanuatu is a small country in Pacific, but they have been very hostile to Indonesia. In various forums, they criticize Indonesia mostly in the context of human rights. But we don't close our door for communication. We even open up ourselves to, although through like association of Pacific countries, they are like we call it Pacific Island Forums. It consists of countries in the Pacific. So we open up ourselves for cooperation with these Pacific Island countries to let them know that we open communication with anyone, even someone who hates you. Yeah, that's diplomacy, I think. Yeah. Okay. What's that? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. With enemy. Okay. Wonderful. Yes, sometimes enemy can become our team work, yeah, in one day, because we cannot choose someone, our teamwork.
Yeah, let me give you one example.
Yes.
You know, again, in the context of the human rights reporting, you know how hard, how how difficult relation between the government and the civil society. It mostly in the past, 10 years ago, for maybe. Now we are like we continue to to communicate, to talk to each other. But in the past, we have a very difficult relation with civil society. But then we try to approach them. Because we need to understand what they really understand about human rights in our country, and what should the government do about improving the situation. So we need them, because civil society mostly they work on the ground, so they know exactly what happened on the ground. So this is a good input for the government. So when we had this UPR reporting process in 2017, we talked intensively with Komnas HAM, with civil society, with media, just to to grab what is the concern. So we as government understand what they concern, and we talk to them on how we deal with it and to address their concern, because this will create a conducive atmosphere for our good relation with other stakeholders, because this country is too big just only to be handled by government. We need other stakeholders to be our partner. So that's why we always think that other stakeholders is as equally contributive as government in keep our country progressing, more progress in the future, because we cannot do it on our own. We need other stakeholders to be our partner. Yeah.
Yes. That's right.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Woman's right. Who is that? Okay.
So a lady now.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Concerning one, it's undeniable that gender discrimination in workplace. Yes. Especially yes. As a woman who will enter the workforce someday, what should I do so I'm not become? Okay. Very good question. Look, Indonesia now is different from Indonesia 20 years ago. We have, a very comprehensive check and balance mechanism. So, be the best of yourself when you enter the workforce someday. You have to, really show your best, that no one can, complain, cannot question your ability, your capability. So first, prove yourself that you are better than others. And don't forget, we have a strong civil society here. We have a very lively press here, media. They can always come to you, or you can come to them to report about your concern, and they will come up, especially in in this era of social media. It's easy to bring the attention of our society, our community, our government. So, of course, this is still discrimination in the workforce in Indonesia, not only in Indonesia, everywhere in the world. But you see now, we have a good or even best women minister in our country. We have Ibu Retno, we have Ibu Sri Mulyani. So, as a woman, prove yourself that you are the best. Then nobody will how do you call that? Nobody will complain. No, nobody will challenge you, because you prove yourself that you are the best. Yeah. So we have Komnas Perempuan. Whenever you have you have experience become victim of this gender discrimination, you can talk to media, you can talk to social media. There's a lot of channel that you can use to express yourself clearly. Yeah, that's very clear.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia, for the question, for the good question.
Okay.
Next, Edward.
Okay, this is racial discrimination.
Okay.
Yeah. Edward.
Yeah, Edward.
Okay.
Commissary class. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. For example, in America, there's a lot of racism. Okay. Then when we face that, should we? Oh, okay. Right. That's very interesting. This okay, racial discrimination. I think it happened about a couple months ago in America. Well, we have to admit America is a melting pot of different individuals from different background. Of course, this discrimination against Black American, about Asian, about color in general, it still happen. But we know the background. It was, I have to add, but again, this is my personal opinion. Who is the boss in the US before this one? That matters. It creates a lot of hostility. It creates tension, even also between races in America. This is the importance of our leaders in many countries, in all countries, I believe. I didn't say that we are fortunate to have Pak Jokowi as our president, but at least we are better than many countries with different leaders, different kind of leaders, because leaders make difference. So what happened in the US, we cannot separate from the leaders. Yeah, of course, this racial discrimination have been there for centuries, but it has a historical background. and they are dealing with this issue. I think they try very hard to improve the situation. And what I learned from the news that the issue of this racial discrimination also come up in the Human Rights Council. So there are so many avenues, there are so many channels that you can of course express your concern, express your reservation. So definitely there is someone who can respond, who can address your concern, and hopefully bring to the solution and improvement. So on the other hand, we are also in the other. No, of course. Look, this is a globalized world. Although for some people it's hard to accept that, but we are living in a globalized world when borders become blur now. I understand when I was in Bangkok, I learned about 200 young generation. They work in Bangkok. What's the name of this? Like telecommunicating, something like that. Yeah. So we are not talking about only ASEAN. We are talking about globalized world in general. We have Indonesian migrant workers in many countries in the world. Migrant workers is a very serious issue in Indonesia. Our embassy in a number of countries who have Indonesian migrant worker work in that country, we work very hard to ensure the protection. But this is a complex issue. It starts from our country when they depart to country of destination. But we now, of course, it's still far from ideal, but we keep improving the system. We keep improving the protection of our Indonesian migrant worker in many countries in the world. Yeah, especially in Middle East. Yeah, good. Anyone else? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, for the next. Come on, guys, ask questions. This is your opportunity to ask question to Pak Dicky about human right. About
maybe Bapak Ibu dosen.
Yeah. Hello. Maybe Ibu Bapak dosen who is attend now. If Ibu Bapak dosen have a question, so please. Okay, Pak Dicky, it's almost there actually for a few minutes, so I want to ask again something while we are waiting for the next question for students for the lecture. So, this is about communication too, about some, like we are doing now, like public speaking, right? Yeah. So public speaking also concern for all of the communication students that they should have this skill, right, for their future jobs. So we know that not easy to say. So as human, some of us have fear on the stage, some in communicating to externals or to the stakeholders, to the new people. So with your international experience, like in UNHRG, and also as a diplomat, deputy of embassy that achieved deputy chief. So please guide us, how can one overcome this fear when we meet maybe such important person, our stakeholders? How?
Okay. Well, I think know the background is very important. What is the background of the person that you will talk to, or the person that you will communicate? Mastering the issue, the topics. You know, in New York, in Geneva, in the UN, in general, we have a class of we have a group of diplomats who are very good in procedural aspect. So they know exactly what is the rule of procedure. That's very important, because that will be the basic of your argument for any question or any issue raised. They know what to respond, because they are mastering the rule of procedure. So whoever that you are talking to, whoever that you are communicate with, you know exactly what is her or his mind. That's very important. Although you can only predict, but make your prediction 90% accurate. That's very important. That's why preparation is very important. Yeah, although this postmodern era very much characterized by how to call that? What is the same time life? You really need to be conscious about the timing. What happened now here in Indonesia? Our friend in Moscow, they know already. How do you call that? Yeah. Time is very important. So the fastest that you know, the fastest that you can respond. So as I said earlier, of course, the paradox of plenty, of course, but we have to select which information is relevant for us. Of course, we have so many things in social media, but we need to select which one is important for us, what is relevant for us, what kind of information that will improve ourselves. That's very important. Very important. So basically, when you have to deal with a very delicate issue, then no other choice. Then you really have to know the background, the substance, where it led to, and prediction is always prediction. Then as long as you can make that prediction, 90%, 80%, then you will save. You are safe. Yeah. So that's basically for me the essence of communication. I've been talking with difficult person, but as long as we master the substance, we master the rule of procedures, just close any possible loopholes. That's the more important message. Prevent any ammunition for your opponent to use that loopholes. Jangan sampai ada celah sedikit pun yang akan memperlemah posisi kita. That's how I learned from my experience. So close any loophole possible. It means that you need to master the substance. You know the substance. in a comprehensive manner. That's very important. So definitely, I've been, one question. I think this is very interesting issue to discuss in every aspect about LGBT. You know LGBT? Anyone know LGBT? Now I raise question. LGBT, anyone? Huh?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Speak
the
up.
it's the homosexuality,
Good. Okay.
lesbian,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. Okay. This is a very sensitive issue, very delicate issue, right? So,
yeah.
How then we approach this difficult issue? Yeah. Okay.
In what context? In like Indonesia?
No, in general. In
general.
In general.
I mean, it is a really hard issue to discuss because, like, especially the world still has a lot of religions that's opposing homosexuality. I believe that the problem is how people should be approaching them. Okay, maybe like we should be tolerant to them, but we should also how should I say? It's like we might we may teach people from a young age that it should be fine to tolerate people who are of the LGBT, but I do believe that everyone has their culture. It's hard. Oh my god, it's so hard.
Look,
hard.
Rehan,
Yeah.
I'll make it simple.
Right.
You can deal with the issue, but not victimize the person. That's the basic principle. Yeah. So this is a complex issue that you have to consider from different aspects.
Yeah.
This issue is not we should not see this issue only from one or two aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah. This issue very complicated. It involves, of course,
too many factors,
psychology, and then of course health, and then social development, as well as religion. So if we want to have a comprehensive understanding, that we have to see from various perspectives. Yeah. That's of course is again is not
an easy task.
Easy task, but this is part of the education that at least for me, I'm fortunate to have some experience to talk with so many experts, with so many diplomats with different background. So I think I should have more comprehensive understanding on the issue, and I think it wise to see it from various angle, not only from one or two angle. So this is just example. This is extreme example, but I believe this is how then I try to share with all of you that we have to think comprehensively.
Yeah.
The world is not, in how you call that, the
imperfect
shape. In silo.
And a silo.
Always connected with others. Everything, with others. So see it from various perspective. Is then if you can see from many perspectives, there I hope that you will understand the issue comprehensively. That's very important. When then you communicate or talk with other people, then I think it is more easy. It's much easier for you to talk if you understand the issue comprehensively. Yeah. Just an example. just want to trigger.
Honestly, sir. So you want my honest answer? I'm quite sleepy to think too much this way.
Just want to trigger discussion. Yeah.
All right. Yes. So exactly. So students, what? Okay, Cynthia asking again. Sir, if I'm not mistaken, you've been in New York, Thailand, and other countries. In your opinion, how do Indonesian people respond to LGBT issues compared to the societies you have met in those countries?
I think I explained quite expandedly on this just now. So I think I hope I respond to this question. That's why I said that I'm fortunate enough to talk to so many resource person with different kind of background and knowledge. So that's why I hope we have a more open-minded and comprehensive understanding on the issue first. Before then, we give some comment or opinion. So make sure that you have a comprehensive understanding on the issue before you comment or you give opinion. I think I answered that question.
Maaf Pak, saya harus log out, habis itu login lagi. Tadi Zoom saya macet parah.
It's okay, Julian.
Kayak dia not responding terus, mau nyalain mic juga nggak bisa.
It's okay. So, what Cynthia asked is, during your stay in New York or in Thailand, Bangkok, how do you see the society reaction to this issue? Maybe that, Pak Dicky.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I can. My latest experience in Thailand. Of course, we have. That's why we have to see the background. Yeah. If we see Thailand, they have perhaps a different religious background. Their background is Buddhism. So they are more open-minded when it comes to LGBT. Of course, the same-sex marriage is not permitted in Thailand, but at the community level, they're very much open-minded on this LGBT people. So of course, it's different. Country has different experience because they have different background. So, but this is not the issue that divide us in a way. So we need just to talk to each other to give understanding about the issue, and then every country they have their own argument on dealing with this sensitive issue. But believe me, globally, there's no one consensus on this issue. We're still discussing, keep on discussing, and they always come up in Human Rights Council. So basically, it's an ongoing issue.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Cynthia, hope the answer of Pak Dicky can make you satisfied. Thank you, Cynthia, for the second question, right? Okay, you know, if I listen to all this explanation from Pak Dicky and this discussion from the student, actually what Pak Dicky said, it's meet our theory and concept, what we learn in college. Is that right?
I'm happy. I'm so happy.
Yes, thank you. I mean, when we are coming to the real workplace, to the real global workplace, what we learn in college actually matters, right, Pak Dicky? What we learn,
Absolutely.
yes, applied. We can apply when we are work in the future. So maybe students, you're not getting it now, but in the future maybe you realize, oh, this is what I learned that day in the college. So what Padiki said about in the essence of communication, that's right, we should see the background in the comprehensive way. Yeah, so we can master our argument. We can understand what we can share to people, so people would understand more better. Yeah,
And
even
one more thing,
yeah.
perhaps on the other way also, that we need to understand our argument comprehensively. So it means we know the issue, we know the background that will strengthen our opinion.
Yes.
So at the same time, while we try to understand others, we need also to master our own argument.
Yes, that's right. So strengthening our argument. So I mean, like Pak Diki said, tidak ada celah. Jadi kita we can always ask. We can always answer what the person asked toward us about their concern about the thing, the topic that we talk. Yes. So actually, students, we should, like Padiki already shared to us, we should what prepare ourselves, yeah, to this dynamic organization, dynamic life. Human is dynamic, so every activities of human also will always change. Okay, every term, every concept that we live in this world today will always change. We don't know what the future bring us. Maybe after this pandemic, we always hope, we always pray that this pandemic will be end soon, but we don't know what's problem in the future that waiting for you, the Z generation. So
Just one closing, perhaps remarks on the quotation. Please remember, the greatest danger in times of turbulence, we are now in the time of turbulence, it's not the turbulence, it is to act with yesterday logic. So this between modern and postmodern. Basically, that's I try to relate with the theoretical perspective.
Yeah, we always should learn from the history, right? Like I always remember the words of Sukarno, President Sukarno, that don't forget the history. Yes, because so many things that we can learn from the history that we can apply in today's problem. Maybe the context, the situation will, might different. But some concept maybe we can still apply in today's issue. Okay, so organizational communication comes with how we can have the good communication skill, how we prepare the good, we can say the perfect. Yes, there's nobody perfect, but at least we can prepare the better things. We can do the best of us for this country, especially, and for others globally. So, like Padiki said, see every issue, see everything in comprehensive way, not only in your way, because we live in global society. So be ready for the changing of life, the changing of organization that maybe you will meet in your future work. Padiki, thank you so much for your sharing today. Students, are you still with us? Hi. Still.
Yes, Miss.
Okay.
Yes, Miss.
Yeah, nice miss.
Yeah, so I will share the link of the app, the list, the link of attendance approval in the chat room. So please fill the form for attendance approval and to get SAT points. Okay, so I already said, please fill the form. Okay, once again, come on, say thank you to Pak Dicky.
Thank you, Pak Dicky. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening. I'm seeing more perspectives now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Pleasure of mine too. I'm glad that at least I addressed that. At least I link myself with the topic of the discussion today. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
It's so much related, but don't worry. Thank you so much for the sharing. So see you again in the next time. Maybe we can also share for another topic. Thank you so much, and students and Ibu Bapak dosen also who attend this guest lecture. Hope we can meet in the others guest lecture activity again. Thank you so much, and then I'm waiting for the form. Okay. See you again. Bye.
Bye, all.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you. Thank you. Exit ya. Apa izin leave. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, sir.